Establishing a heads of department accountability system, therefore, is of critical significance. The details are as follows. Aims. Establishing the HOD accountability system has the following primary aims. First, to render the political accountability required of secretaries of department and directors of bureau in policy formulation and the administrative accountability required of civil servants in implementing policy initiatives better articulated with each other, with clarification of their respective roles. Second, to drive HODs to establish an effective management team and operating systems, eliminating bottlenecks and plugging shortfalls, improving workflow on an ongoing basis, and continuously enhancing departmental efficiency. Third, to identify the deficiencies whenever a problem occurs in the department, putting in place improvements, attributing responsibility to the appropriate parties, and taking administrative or disciplinary actions against those responsible in accordance with the civil service management regime. The consequences include warnings, reprimands, not being granted a salary increment, relegation in rank, reduction in salary, compulsory retirement, and even dismissal. The investigation mechanism. Investigations will be divided into two tiers in accordance with the severity of the problems identified. Tier 1. If the problems are of a general nature, the investigation should be taken up by the HOD concerned. They will be responsible for identifying the deficiencies of the department and putting in place improvement, taking forward administrative or disciplinary actions against the officers who have underperformed or engaged in misconduct in accordance with the civil service management regime. Tier 2. If a serious problem occurs in a department or the problem is widespread or a repetitive systemic one, or there are indications that the HOD concerned is implicated in the problem, the investigation will be carried out by an investigation panel set up specifically under the HOD accountability system. The panel will identify the deficiencies of the department and attribute responsibility to the appropriate parties and should be independent from the government such that the investigation will be impartial and independent and should be able to examine civil servants of all ranks to ensure that the investigation is thorough and should be familiar with the general operation of the government to ensure that the investigation is completed efficiently and should be a standing team to be called upon, ensuring its certainty and readiness. To achieve the aforementioned aims, I will expand the existing functions of the Public Service Commission to enable it to conduct investigations. Independent of the government and in operation for many years, the Commission is conversant with the management system of the civil service. Its current statutory functions include advising the Chief Executive on matters affecting the public service, including disciplinary cases of civil servants. The existing functions of the Commission do not cover investigation, extending its functions to include investigation and inviting experts or government officials not related to the department being investigated to participate can ensure both the independence and impartiality of the investigations concerned, as well as the efficiency of the investigation, thereby achieving the four requirements set out previously. The government will make subsidiary legislation under the Public Service Commission Ordinance to implement the above proposal. Activation mechanism. When a situation as described previously occurs in a department, the relevant bureau or director of bureau must report it to the secretary of department concerned. Upon obtaining the latter's agreement, the director of bureau should activate the Tier 2 independent investigation mechanism. The secretary of department concerned can also, on their own initiative, direct the relevant director of bureau to activate the investigation mechanism. Strengthening the performance appraisal system for civil servants. The overall performance of civil servants is fundamental to the effectiveness of departments. A fair and honest assessment of staff performance can encourage good performance to strive for excellence and suitably handle staff who have underperformed or misconducted themselves. In this connection, establishing an effective performance appraisal system will help HODs enhance the overall effectiveness of the department, raise the morale of good performance, assist those with room for improvement to improve their capability, and handle the small number of staff involved in misconduct in a fair manner. The Civil Service Bureau is tasked to conduct a study developing a more rigorous performance appraisal system that reflects and differentiates the performance levels of staff more effectively. Apart from assessing the performance of senior civil servants, including HODs, in accordance with the existing mechanism, secretaries of department and directors of bureau will need to supervise the senior civil servants under their charge to properly perform personnel management work for staff at all ranks, including performance appraisal, posting, promotion, and discipline.